news. I'm going to keep an eye on my phone because I should get a notification. Yeah, we are discussing Ballad of Songbird and Snakes by Suzanne Collins. I almost called her Suzanne Young because that's another YA author that I read. Yeah, she wrote Girls with Sharp Sticks. Okay, I got a notification. That's good.
Oh, there we are. Okay, we're good.
Yeah. Did you buy the physical book? Oh, sorry.
I was gonna say hi and welcome. This is the third. Is it the third?
It's the third.
The third live stream for the Plot Thickens Book Club. Last month we had Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes by Suzanne Collins, not Suzanne Young.
Yes. So you did get the physical book. I didn't because I don't have a job yet, so I can't buy books. Also, I don't know if our Barnes & Nobles is open or not. It might be. It might be open for like curbside pickup. But yeah, when I buy, well, I can go into book buying stuff. But anyway, I guess, what's your initial rating of the book?
5 stars.
Really?
I loved it. It was horrible and I loved it.
I gave it 2 stars. 2 stars.
No. No.
I feel conflicted. I might raise it to 3 stars and maybe 2.5.
Don't let me influence you, but like, get out.
I feel conflicted because I did enjoy it, but I also didn't. Like, it was very compelling. Like, it was a unputdownable book. But at the same time, it was just so dark. And the Hunger Games series is like that, and I forgot how dark it is. It was just so grim, and I hated snow. From the beginning, I just hated it.
No, that's why I loved it.
Oh, it's so hard.
So awful.
He got so much, like, it was, at first, it started out as like, I know this character is going to be evil, I'm not a fan, but then towards the end, I was like, I despise this person.
I love it when, okay, I'm so over that trope where they're like, here's the bad guy, and here's this huge, like, humanizing story, and why you should love them. I love that Snow was a horrible person from beginning to end. How he just had no idea how morals worked, and how he was just awful. And I love the behind the scenes of the Hunger Games and figuring out kind of how they came to be what they are. And oh man, I was so compelled by, like you said yourself, it's compelling. And it's one of the few books where I'm like, it was worth all those pages. Like, I think it's like only
it was. It's like almost 500 pages, I think. Yeah.
I'm happy with 500, and it was like, I wouldn't cut a thing. It was good.
Yeah. So every once in a while, and I don't know if we've talked about this before, but I leave books unrated because I feel so conflicted about them. I think there are 3 that I've left unrated. Book of M by, don't remember her name. Imaginary Friend by Stephen Chbosky. I don't know how to pronounce his last name. And then The Brightlands by John Fram, which I just read, and I felt so conflicted about it. And I was so sad because I had like an initial negative reaction, which made me sad because the author is so funny and nice. But yeah, I leave books unrated when I feel conflicted, and this might be one of them. Because like, there are parts I hated. Like, I hated the characters, but in a good way, if that makes sense. So it was kind of like, I don't know what to do in this case.
I leave a lot of books unrated, but that's just because I do it when I'm worried that my opinion might influence the tide on people's opinions for the book. So I would leave it unrated in that case. This one, I am shotgunning it up to 5 stars right away. I loved it.
Yeah, and actually, with At Home, which we can talk about my thoughts, but I DNF'd At Home by Bill Bryson. I originally was going to rate it 2 stars, but then I was like, I have a generally decent following at this point, and this book is kind of low enough on popularity that I feel like if I rated it 2 stars, people would sway away from it, and I don't really want to do that, so I left it unrated.
You're feeling that Goodreads responsibility. With great power comes great responsibility.
Yeah.
Yeah, I accidentally tanked like 2 books before I really started to realize what I was doing.
Mm-hmm.
And ever since then, I've kind of rolled back. If
Mm-hmm.
it's a book with like a ton of ratings and a ton of people who've read it, I'll just like 1 star it and write a snarky review. But if there's like less than 50, even less than 100, I'm not even gonna rate it.
Mm-hmm.
And I
Yeah.
think it's a new record. We talked about the book for 5 minutes, and then we got
We did.
distracted.
Yes. Oh, Dr. Gall. She was like deliciously creepy. She was so
She was
freaky.
horrible, and I loved her so much.
Yeah, she was. I read the Hunger Games trilogy in 2017, so I don't really remember it. Um, she wasn't in the original trilogy, was she? No, she was already, because this one was like 50 years before, so she probably wasn't. I don't really remember. Oh, but I found this thing on Goodreads. So you originally said that Suzanne Collins wasn't trying to humanize him, and I don't think she was, but at the same time, I saw a blurb, and it goes like this: a teen born to privilege but searching for something more, a far cry from the man we know he will become. Here he's friendly, here he's charming. For now, he's a hero. And I liked that. I both did and didn't like it. Like, I liked that they didn't quite say, oh, he like, this is what happened to make him evil, like, feel bad for him. It was like that, oh yeah, he's gonna be evil, but let's show you how he got there, kind of, which I liked.
There's only one other book that I remember ever doing that, and it was okay, what's that series? It's like cyberpunk, but like fairy tale. Cinder,
Cinder?
Cinder.
It's Cinder,
Yeah,
the Lunar
Cinder, like
Chronicles.
the companion novel from the Evil Queen. Have you read
I
that
didn't
one?
I didn't. So I read the Lunar Chronicles when I was 12 or 13, and my English teacher who introduced me to the book community had read it, and she told my mom, she's like, don't let Tucker read this book, it's super dark. So I never read it. I probably would be fine now, and probably would have even been fine then, but I haven't read it. So
Yeah, she's an evil person, and in the book she's absolutely awful, but at the same time you're like, I get what messed you up.
mm-hmm.
And this one kind of was like that, but like he was just he just has a very shifted sense of morals.
And
Very
he's so,
shifted.
and this is what I was annoyed by. He is so selfish and self entitled, and he just does not have eyes for anyone except himself, which was a little annoying. Like, I get it, but it irked me at times.
Yeah. I really wanted because like Tigress in this book shows up on the rebel side on the other in the original Hunger Games. And I was really curious like what made her choose to switch sides. And I didn't really did you pick up on it? Because I feel like I missed that.
I don't, but I didn't. I mean, I probably missed a lot because I barely remember the original Hunger Games. Um,
Well, in the original Hunger Games, she's just a background character where like they invade the capital and they're like, oh, well, Tigress is on our side. We can go hang. I think like they get hidden in there or something. Nothing like
mhm,
super major. But
mhm.
when I saw the name in here, I'm like, oh, that's Tigress. So she's Snow's sister. And I'm like, what could have made her go to the rebel side?
Yeah,
But we never really got that, which was disappointing.
yeah. At the end, which I guess at this point we've already kind of spoiled mildly, so I guess we should just say we're going to go into
I mean,
spoilers.
we're doing a rehash of the book everyone should have read.
Yes, I mean, I
It's
personally,
been out since like March, so like people have had time.
I thought it came out in May.
Maybe May.
I
I
think
don't
it came out in May. No, but I mean, I personally will go to like discussions, like YouTube discussions, without having read the book. Usually, if I don't want to read it. But
know.
yeah, first spoilery thing I wanted to talk about is, well, one, I hated the romance between Lucy Gray and Snow. It
But
was
the end though, that really
the
has me
end.
questioning.
I did like the end because it was like where you like literally see him within the same chapter go from like caring to, I'm gonna kill this girl.
Well, like so again, spoilers to the people watching. But at the end, it seemed like Lucy had figured it all out, and that she
Hmm.
was playing him, and that's why he decided to go after her.
Yeah.
Now, my thoughts is like I'm really curious, like when she got figured out, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Because I was just like, what? How? How long ago did that happen? And how long has she been like setting this up, sort of thing?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Luna.
Hi, Luna.
Luna. I don't know who she's barking at. I don't see anyone. She'll just bark at random
She does
things.
that too. He's just asserting his dominance.
Yeah. And so because pools are closed, I think they might be open now. But anyway, we have a creek in our backyard, or it's a river, and we let people go through our yard to the river because it's the quickest way to get to it. But Luna just barks at them, so it's annoying.
Well, her the arm. She came there first.
Mm-hmm.
What was the part that you liked the most about it then?
That's hard. I think the part I like the most is just the general unputdownableness. Like it was very. I actually now that I'm starting to talk about it because I haven't really actually thought about the book since I finished it. I actually might. I don't know. I'll have to think about my reading because there were a lot of things I loved. There are a few things I hated. It's hard.
It's hard. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
All right. I'll take that.
Yeah.
Let's see. My favorite part was all the behind the scenes Hunger Gamesy stuff. Because
Mm-hmm.
that's when in the regular Hunger Games, you're just thrown into that world and you're just like checking it out.
Mm-hmm.
And in this one, it's more of a what do they do? Like, how did it come to be? And I love behind the scenes things, which is exactly why I loved At Home, which apparently you
Yeah.
hated.
Yeah. I think. Oh, and this is something I didn't like is, and I get that it's kind of like it comes with the territory. I hated how just horrible the Hunger Games in general is. And I feel like I remember feeling this way when I originally read the Hunger Games. I was like, I hate this. I want it to stop. And I understand like that's the whole point of the book, but yeah.
Yeah, my dad can't watch the movie. It's
I
the
haven't seen the
concept of it.
movies.
He can't do it.
I haven't seen the movies. I think they would be too much for me. I mean, I could barely watch the Harry Potter movies. They freaked me out. But I was like, no.
How old were you?
I had just turned 12, I think.
Okay, so like go watch Harry Potter. Like that's a staple in my house. As soon as like me, my mom, or my sister, if one of us falls ill, we know we're like literally watching Harry Potter. Like that's the sick movie in our house.
Mm-hmm.
And I think we've watched the first one like over 24 times at this point because every time someone gets sick, it's Harry Potter time.
Mm-hmm. I've watched the first three. I watched 1 through 5. So Sorcerer's Stone through the fifth one. Yes,
Order
Order
of
of Phoenix. I haven't watched the last. It's 4, right? The last 4, because Deathly Hallows is 2 movies.
the yeah, the 6th, the 7th, and the 7th.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I remember when I was reading the Harry Potter books. My mom let me go to Goblet of Fire, and then she made me stop because I think I was 9 when I was reading them, and she told me I couldn't read them until I was older. And then I read them the next month because she gave in because I kept complaining that I needed to know what happened. And I remember that Deathly Hallows is how I learned the B word. I'm not going to say because I don't know if I would get in trouble with YouTube or anything, but
I don't know. We could find out.
no, probably not a good idea. I mean, not that either of us aren't monetized. Are you monetized? Because I'm not.
No, I'm like kind of on the edge, not quite at the edge, but like the edge of the edge. And I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
I've been putting up like 2 videos a week just so I can kind of inch closer before the end of the year.
Mm-hmm. I don't know much about monetization. I know that, like Melanie. Do you know Melanie? Her YouTube channel.
No, to the end, yeah.
Mm-hmm. She
Love
got
it.
she got monetized pretty quickly. I think. I feel like maybe Luna. Anywho, I'm definitely
She's not barking. You're much louder than she is, so you.
okay. Okay. Yeah, I probably won't get monetized anytime soon. Not that I really want to be, because I'd rather ads didn't play on my videos because I find it ads annoying. But
I think it's just something. Swamish.
hold on, my sister's here. Give me a second.
Hold on 1 second.
Stella, I'm live.
What? Did I take a dog break?
Yes.
Yeah, we have the window open, which means that Squamish gets to defend the entire house from the entire neighborhood, especially the 2-year-olds. There's something about like a small human walking that terrifies him.
Luna hates all animals, and children and adults. She hates everything.
Aw, mine too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so what else were we going to talk about?
Any other things about the book that I wanted to say?
Yeah, anything else about Ballad or Songbirds and Snakes?
It was just as like gory and body horror-y as the original series.
Yeah, which at the time I was reading it, I hadn't had a lot of. I read a lot of cookie cutter YA where it's like, oh, you got stabbed, fade to black.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of liked how brutal the Hunger Games was. It was something different, and it made me really think about morals and situations that I hadn't thought of when I was originally reading that. When I at that age when I was reading books.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. What was I gonna say? I had this thought, but now I lost it. Yeah. Oh, now I remember. So in my like initial reaction on Goodreads, I said this book didn't need to exist. And even though as I've thought about it, I'm kind of liking the book a little more. I still think it didn't necessarily need to exist. I don't know what Susan Collins' motivation was for writing the book, though I do have a sneaking suspicion it might have been money. I'm not sure, and it doesn't totally seem like that, like it does with other or prequels I've seen. But I still think that the series would have been fine without this book.
The series was definitely complete. And this is definitely not the start of a new trilogy because it ended the way it did.
Mm-hmm.
However, I don't think this was just purely motivated by money. And that's just because it was so fleshed out. Like I've read prequels and sequels and companion novels,
I
and
agree.
there's so many times where you can instantly tell that they're just like, oh well, you found one more way to wring some money out of that. And this one was just, it felt like a little bit of like a labor of love, and a little bit of like, I want to approach this in a writing and approach this world in a way I haven't done it before.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree, and it's definitely one of the better prequels I've read. I think the best prequel I've ever read is A Tale of Magic by Chris Colfer. That is,
How to read that
it's
series? You love
so
it so
good.
much.
I love it so much. And it's a prequel to The Land of Stories, and I would say that it didn't look like it was thought out, like it didn't look like he had planned all of it when he was writing the original series, but he still managed to make everything fit in with the original series, which I liked.
Yeah.
Like he introduces characters and introduces like all their quirks and stuff and why they have that quirk, and I really liked that.
Okay, I can see that. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, At Home. So I DNF'd it because I was so bored, which sucks. I started it and I was like, okay, I expected a lot more of the kind of fun facts, pop culture, or not pop culture, fun facts and like psychological stuff, and I didn't get that. It was more historical.
Quirky, and this one was more serious, sort of thing.
Yeah, I was more on the history side, which I think excluding math, history is one of my least favorite subjects.
From
So
experience, you just don't have the right history books then, because it's fascinating. It's just school seems to find like the dullest possible way to describe it ever in the world.
I mean, school, they really are just teaching you how to pass a test, and they don't usually do that well either. I mean, I could go into everything that's wrong with schools, but anyway, it was pretty boring for me. I did my best to keep going, but the nail in the coffin was when I was listening to it and I literally fell asleep. I was just that bored.
That was gonna be my suggestion. I was gonna say like just try to do the audiobook and then just do tasks and like
Oh, I
wait.
did do the audiobook.
Yeah. That was gonna be my suggestion, and then you told me you fell asleep listening to it, so there goes that out the window.
Yeah, and I was just, yeah, it just wasn't working for me. I think that if I'd maybe been in a different mindset, or if it wasn't as long, maybe I would have enjoyed it more, but it just didn't work for me.
See, I loved the painstaking detail for this one. Like, the fact that he went into, like, people made houses, and then they didn't put doors in it. Or
Hmm.
the way they used to make houses and, like, have, like, 4 walls every single, and then the house would be, like, touching each other, but there's still, like, one wall for each of the houses touching. Like, I'm like, I never would have learned about that. And then the whole reason why you have salt and pepper as the spices on your table when there's so many spices out there.
Hmm.
So we're Italian, we have like garlic salt on our table.
Hmm.
But
Yeah.
I love painstaking detail. So I guess you don't want my suggestion of cod, which is the history of the fishing industry.
Probably not. Even the title sounds boring to me. Um,
That
I
one was a little bit samey, but I was still like, I had no idea that cod had that much of an influence on our lives.
Yeah, I struggle with. I need because I have ADHD and I'm a daydreaming person. I need fast. I need fascinating. That's why I prefer high concept fiction. So that's why I don't really like thriller. I used to love thrillers, but I've kind of grown out of them. I struggle with thrillers because they all feel the same. They all feel like a person has a mystery and it's creeping them out, and then they figure out what it is, or they die, and then the book's over.
Mm-hmm.
So I kind of need newness. That's why I like science fiction, fantasy, stuff um, like stuff with a concept or like a premise, like this character has this special power and they have to defeat this villain or whatever. Um, so that's why I struggle with history. Like I even I read. Have you read White Fragility by Robin DiAngelo?
Mm-mm. I just joined a book club at my university, and I think that's one of the ones on it.
Yeah. There I read White Fragility and So You Want to Talk About Race by Ijoma Oluo. And those are both books about race. And I enjoyed So You Want to Talk About Race, and it was really eye-opening. But White Fragility, I didn't enjoy as much. It was semi eye-opening, but the problem with White Fragility is it was so repetitive. Like after the first couple chapters, like, okay, I get your point. And then she just kind of kept repeating it over and over again.
That sucks.
Hmm. Yeah.
But at least it really sunk in, I
It
guess.
did. Yeah. Um, yeah, I was gonna what was I saying? Oh yeah. So I over the past year was basically like really enjoying romance, but actually made a video about like the problems with the
Yeah,
romance
I
genre.
remember that you had like so many. I forgot to write a comment. Sorry. I'll go through that right after this. But yeah, I was watching that one and I was like nodding along. Like I don't read that much romance on my own,
Hmm.
but the reasons you were stating as like the reasons why like, there's some problems are kind of the reasons why I stay out of that genre for the most part.
Hmm. Yeah, and I think I said this either in the beginning or the end or both. I do enjoy the romance genre, and but there, especially for more impressionable people, there are a lot of problems. And I made the video because I was very impressionable. Um, And I think that I had the realization while I was making that video that I've kind of outgrown the romance genre. I still read it and I'll still keep reading it, but I kind of,
15. You've been reading it for a year and you've completely outgrown a genre.
I, I guess, I guess I've kind of seen it in from a different viewpoint per se. I see the holes in it, and I'm glad I do because mostly I'm glad that I kind of know how to deal with it in a way. And this is actually something I worked on with my therapist is because she realized she's like, "Are you reading a lot of romance books?" And I because she knows I love to read, and I was like, "Yeah." And she's like, "From what I've heard, like those can be unrealistic," and we talked through those the way they affected my expectations.
Yeah, my mom had that talk with me too when I was in high school. She's like, Miranda, you're gonna have to realize that that is not real and it's nowhere close to real. Like you gotta lower what your expectations are.
I remember back in last summer when I was getting ready to go to public school for the first time, I was expecting that I would go there, meet a boy, we'd be dating within like a week, and then everything would be happily ever after. And now I
pretty
realize.
much every young adult book out there.
And yeah, and actually, I work with Forever. They're an imprint of Grand Central, and that was something I was talking to the publicist there, and I was like, because she sends out a newsletter, and I think I sent it to you. And she asked, like, what do you want to see more of in books? And I told her I would love to see more books with realistic male character, physically realistic male characters, but also I just more realistic romances, because all the romances have happily ever afters. And even though that's not necessarily a bad thing, because sometimes people need a break from reality and they need to read a fluffy happily ever after. I wish there were more books that kind of recognize that life doesn't really have happily ever afters. It's kind of like just a continuous. I just read Beach Read, which I didn't like, but there was thing I did.
Reserved that one from the library, so
I
don't
think
give me spoilers.
I won't give you spoilers, but the one phrase that was used, I think, I don't remember when, but it was happily for now. And life isn't a happily ever after. It's just a continuous set of happily for nows. And I really liked that.
That's a good way of approaching it.
Mm-hmm.
I know, like, every time I read a romance book and they fall in love within like the first 3 days, I just want to put it down, or like I have to like mentally like rewrite it to like 30 days. So I'm like, this is just, there's no way. There's no way.
It's I think it's called, yeah, it's Insta Love. That's what it's called. And it's definitely an annoying trope. Another trope I didn't like. I can't remember it now. I don't like. So sometimes there will be like the strong female character. And I always get kind of nervous talking about like why I don't like the strong female character, because it's feminism, and I don't know much about feminism. I'm also male, so I get a little like nervous because I don't want to say anything offensive. But sometimes authors will make like strong female characters, and they will come off as bratty, and I get annoyed.
Bratty or mean or just like going after every little thing. Yeah, I've definitely picked that up. Like, there are ways to do strong female characters, but there feels like there's so many authors that do capital strong female character. And I'm like, just tone it down. People aren't like that. And I would want it to be more realistic rather than just trying to find everything that you can make your character strong in and then throwing it all at them at once.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay, so what are you reading right now? What's your current reads?
Nothing. I don't. I've
It's
been.
almost as shocking as a rating of our book.
Yeah, I know. Let's see. I'm gonna look on my Overdrive, but I'm currently binge watching a show. It's actually a children's show, but I really like it. It's called Miraculous Ladybug. Have you heard of it? It's on.
Is it the one where there's like a girl superhero who's like Ladybug and then there's a cat boy?
Cat Noir.
I've seen it at the
Yes.
dentist office. Haven't actually.
It's a children's show, and it's I think it's French and English dubbed, and it's super dumb, but I also really love it. Basically, it's about Cat Noir and Ladybug, and they save Paris from this guy named Hawkmoth, who finds people who are emotionally distressed and uses their emotional distress to turn them into supervillains. And it's dumb, but it's really good as well.
A wild concept and go for it.
It is a wild concept, but I like it, especially because I wouldn't have watched it if it was just the same thing over and over again, where they find a villain and they save them. And it kind of is, but there is also like an overall theme and an overall like plot. Like there's the Miraculouses, and there are like Kwamis and Akumas. There's like all these terms that they explain slowly, which I really enjoyed.
Okay.
Yeah,
Pretty good.
I'm looking at my Overdrive now because I don't have anything borrowed on Hoopla or Overdrive, and I probably should read something.
I'm currently reading Owl Crate's June book, which is
Yes.
Naked, which I don't know how I feel about that. I keep feeling like there should be some sort of cover for it. So far, like, it's really good. Again, I'll put it so you can actually see it. But like, Where Dreams Descend, and so far it's like really, really good. And this girl's memory keeps getting erased, and then she figured it out, and now she's like on the escape. So,
Oh, I like that. So
so
I
yeah.
saw arcs of that going around on Instagram. The
Yeah,
cover
this looks like it's not officially out, but apparently it was in the Owl Crate box, so
out with most subscription boxes, they can send out the book before it's out usually.
sometimes.
hmm
Yeah.
But the cover and like the synopsis kind of gave me Caravel vibes. Have you read
Yeah.
that book?
Yeah.
Did you not like it? I can't remember because I know there are some book. Yeah, I didn't think so.
Did
I
you read
loved
it?
it. I loved
Oh
it.
no. I think the main issue I had was just the main character is so naive. And then also there's so much that just happens in the world because magic. And
hmm
like Harry Potter, they have firm rules. Even A Court of Thorns and Roses, like you're not sure of the rules, but like
hmm
everything that happens is very logical. In
hmm
Caraval, it felt like the author was just throwing things into the story and like went, but magic. That's
Yeah.
how that works.
hmm
It really annoyed me, and I didn't even pick up the second book.
hmm
That's what I should do a video on. Like, I don't DNF books, but I DNF series. Like, the series I've read the first one of, and I never will touch again.
Yeah. I read Carval, and then I read the sequel. What's it called? I can't remember its name. I'm gonna look it up. Also, Where Dreams Descend comes out August 25th. So you got it pretty early.
That
Well,
is wildly early. Yeah.
yeah. Let me see. I
Okay.
don't Carval. I don't remember the second book's title. It's now gonna bug me unless I know.
Legendary?
Um, Legendary. That's it.
I hate
Legendary.
the book, and I still know it.
Yes. I read Carval and then Legendary. Legendary was it took a nosedive in my opinion. It and I started
It
to
didn't have fall too far. It didn't
I
have far to fall.
I mean, I started to see all of that stuff with like the magic, and then it was from the perspective of Stella's sister. I don't remember her name, but she was even as naive as Stella was. Was Stella the main character in Caraval? I think she was. Um,
Maybe.
I
This is
think,
like I did 2.5 years ago, I think I read this one.
yeah, I read it in 2018, I think. Anyway, the main character's sister was even dumber, and she was a lot more impulsive, and it was just really annoying. So I haven't read
Impulsivity, that really annoys me with characters
this.
so much.
So I didn't end up finishing the series.
Yeah, but that one it's working out pretty well. And then I also have another one that I'm reading, which is I was told it would get better, which is our July pick
Which
for the
one? Oh yeah, sorry. I when you said I was told it would get better, I thought you were saying that the book you were reading would get better. I was like,
we'll have to find out for our I guess it would be the beginning of August, our next one.
yeah,
But yeah, no, like I'm also reading that one. I'm only a few chapters in, and so far I like it.
yeah. I it well, I won't say facts. We'll have to wait until next month. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. Um, oh yeah. You said you read 34. Did you say you read 34 books this month? That's a lot. That's more than a book a day.
Okay, so I think like 6 of them were picture books, which were sent to me to review. Oh,
Mhm.
so like one kind of fun thing is I am now an official influencer for Familius Publishing. It comes
Oh,
with
that's
perks
fun.
of asking to review books and they just send it to me, which is everywhere.
Yeah, yeah.
But I'm really excited. I love their company. I love the message that
hmm
they send.
hmm
And I was actually like I could feel like the tears gathering from one of the picture books I read this month.
Wow.
Yeah, it was called oh shoot, what was it called? It was a foster care tale, and it was this little squirrel, and he gets rejected from like 5 different animal families, so he decides that he would be the worst squirrel ever, so that way he can reject the other families first
Aw.
before they have a chance to reject him. And
Aw.
then he gets put with an elephant couple, which were big and they were old, and
hmm
he just did mean thing after mean thing, and they just kept saying, "We love you no matter what."
Aw, that's so
And I'm like,
sweet.
I was like getting so teary, and it was like midnight, and I'm just reading a picture book.
Mhm.
I'm so glad like no one walked in and just saw me like crying over a picture book.
Mm-hmm.
It was so sweet, and I think that was like kind of like no matter what I think was the title for that one.
Mm-hmm.
It was so cute.
Yeah, books don't make me cry that often. I'm not,
Mhm.
I don't really, I don't show my emotion in extremes. Like, I don't laugh that much. It sounds so sad. Like, I find things funny and entertaining, but I don't burst out laughing. I giggle, I smile, but I don't sob that much. I don't belly laugh that much. I don't have like huge extremes like some people.
See, I will see a sad commercial and I'll have to turn away because I'm like, oh gosh, no, I can't do this.
Mm-hmm.
But books, no, nothing except for apparently a foster care tale.
Mm-hmm. The last book that made me cry, what was it? I know that
Oh,
you were there too by Colleen Oakley. That made me full on sob. I've
what
never
was
had.
it about?
I think I already spoiled it for you because you said I could.
I think
You did.
Favorite.
So I guess spoilers for You Were There Too by Colleen Oakley. Basically, it's about this woman who, first of all, she keeps having miscarriages, and that's part of the story, and it was really sad. But that didn't make me cry. What made me cry is, so basically, this woman is married, but she's having dreams about this other guy, and it's kind of a whole story of like how to deal with what ifs and what happens when you are attracted or to another person when you're already in a marriage. But anyway, in the end, so this woman and her husband, they're very like they kind of hate each other. But then in the end, they make up and it's so romantic and so happy. But then the husband dies. And it was so
A
heart
sucker punch.
wrenching because I was like smiling. I was like, I'm so glad they made up and it's so romantic and happy. And then he just gets killed. And it was
Oh,
so
that's
hard.
no. That is awful.
It was so
I'm so
sad.
sorry. Oh no.
Yeah. And I was just like, I just paused the audiobook. And I was sitting in my beanbag across from my bookshelf, and I just sobbed for like 10 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
And then it took like a week or two because every time I thought about that book, even today when I think about that book, it just makes my heart hurt a little bit.
Oh man, it's crazy how like they can just get those emotions from you that you had no idea were gonna come out.
Yeah, that month was a good month for crying books because I also read another book. I don't really want to say the book title because if you read the synopsis and I say like that this book made me cry, it kind of spoils the ending, if that makes
Okay.
sense. Like, um,
Yeah, no, I get that.
yeah.
Yeah.
Um, and
So
books
like
don't,
happy books though, like did you have any good ones you read this month?
oh, I'm gonna look at my Goodreads. Books don't really make me laugh either. Um,
Okay, that's something I have noticed as well. There's very rarely do I actually like laugh out loud from a book. Even
mhm.
like the ones that are comedic ones, I'm just kind of like, okay, got it. I did
Yeah.
read The Great Alone this month, and that was all about like a
Oh, yeah.
family. Have you read that one?
I've heard of it. It's by Kristen Hanna, right? I think.
No idea. I don't pay attention to authors whatsoever when I pick up a book.
Hmm.
But that one was really, really good. The family picked themselves up, went to Alaska, and then the
Hmm.
daughter is, the father is abusive, and then the daughter has to try and survive. And it was just one of those books where you're just taken on a journey and you're just
Hmm.
going off. And it was really interesting. It got me a little teary towards the end too,
Yeah.
it was kind of like happy tears though. I mean, I was like, oh gosh, thank goodness.
I remember I read Eat Cake, Be Brave by Melissa Radke, and I actually posted on my Instagram story how like inspirational that book was to me. And the author responded, and she was so nice about it. Um,
Oh,
yeah, it was really nice. But let's see. Okay, I reread the Romance Book Club, and that was really nice. I love that book. I have a
I'm so
Goodreads
gonna
shelf.
reread.
It's rereadable in my opinion.
We still need to petition the author for our book idea for that series.
We should. But that was really good. I have an all time favorites shelf, which I feature on my Goodreads profile, but I have it organized by most favorite, and I think it's second or third. I think it's second.
What's your first most favorite?
Stalking Jack the Ripper. That's
Really?
Yeah, it's hard because Stalking Jack the Ripper, objectively, I know that it's not the best written book, but it's still my all-time favorite. I get it's mostly like nostalgia, and I've reread it, and it's just, I love it. Then the
Okay,
other
so
book,
what's number two? What's your second most favorite then?
Bromance Book Club.
I thought that was number three. It's three then.
Hold on, let me check. And hold on, shuffle, not loading. Come on. Okay. Goodreads sometimes it does this thing where I want it's hard because Stalking Jack the Ripper, objectively, I know that it's not the best written book, but it's still my all-time favorite. I get it's mostly like nostalgia, and I've reread it, and it's just, I love it. Then the
Okay,
other
so
book,
what's number two? What's your second most favorite then?
Bromance Book Club.
I thought that was number three. It's three then.
Hold on, let me check. And hold on, shuffle, not loading. Come on. Okay. Goodreads sometimes it does this thing where I want my read shelf to be organized by date read, but somehow I made it so that all my shelves are organized by date read. I'll have to fix that. Okay. My third most favorite book is The Hate You Give by Angie Thomas.
Oh, I just finished that one, like, I think 2 months ago.
Yeah,
That one was really incredible. That was such a good book.
it
And
was.
it's crazy how much of it is like paralleling right now with the world.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That was a wild ride.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Then A Tale of Magic is my fourth favorite book.
I thought that was gonna be like one of your up there. I definitely thought that.
Yeah. Let's see what else. Oh, What If is up there. It's number 5.
Yeah, I noticed that you have 2 copies on your bookshelf.
Luna. Anyway, yes, I do have 2 copies. I don't know why. I don't remember why I bought 2 copies. I bought one copy at a bookstore in Pennsylvania, and then I was at the library, and they had another copy for like 5 cents or something. My library does book sales so super cheap. So I bought it then, and I was like, I'm just gonna have 2 copies.
Yeah, that was. I got a copy for I think my high school graduation.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if maybe that or maybe college round one's graduation. I can't quite remember.
I feel like I'm trying to think. It Wait, let me see when it came out, because I feel like it might not have been out when you would have graduated high school.
Maybe it was a while ago.
It came out in 2014, so I feel like you graduated high
Well, that
school.
would have been college graduation
Yeah,
gifts then.
yeah. Little Fire. Have you read Little Fires Everywhere?
No, I just put that one on my Overdrive library as well, so I'm like
Mhm.
looking forward to reading that one.
It's really good. I don't really remember how much of the plot, but I remember liking it.
Okay, that's good because it should be coming in somewhat soonish.
Hmm.
I have like a 1 month free trial of Scribd, so I'm just kind of like quickly snapping up all the books that would take me forever to get on Goodreads.
Hmm.
Hopefully that works out.
Yeah, all my holds are. I can try to show you. They're all Harry Potter. Oh wait, no, that's actually the new Kevin Kwan book.
Ooh, I
Yeah.
gotta reserve that one. Like, okay, I'm streaming from my phone, so I can't do that yet, but I will.
Yes. And then it's a so my library only lets you have 6 holds at a time, which is
Oh, that's awful. We have 10, and even then I'm struggling.
mhm.
There's
And
like books that have like 500 people in line, and I'm like, yeah, I'll put my name on the list. I'm not going to get it like 6 months to a year.
mhm. um yeah, and I'm glad. So my library, what you can do is when you search a title and it will say like no results, you can scroll down and it will say, here's the book you're looking for. Do you want to recommend your library to buy this? So what happens is when I recommend a book, it will go into my holds once it's bought, no matter how many holds I have, even if I have all 6. So right now I have 7 holds because they just bought a title that I recommended. I remember I had like 8 holds at one time. Yeah. What else? Oh yeah, I have all the Harry Potter books on hold. The problem
Where are
is
you right now with the series?
I am. I've read the first two. I need to read Prisoner of Azkaban. Problem
Thoughts on them?
is, what?
Thoughts on them?
I love them. I think Chamber of Secrets is definitely my favorite, or up in the top three. It is very well written and very
I think it's better than the original, the first one.
definitely better than the first one.
I think it might be the nostalgia in me talking, because I don't think anything can really beat the first one. My favorite, other than the first one, would be the fourth one, because it's the last happy one. After that, they just start to get darker and darker. So like the fourth one is the last happy one.
The fourth one is probably lower on the list. It wasn't my favorite. Half-Blood Prince is up there for sure.
Oh no, that one, it was all right.
I felt like it was so informative.
What about the seventh one?
Deathly Hallows. Right?
Yeah.
I don't really remember it that much.
So when you do get to that, I'm really curious to hear your thoughts, because I've always just called it Harry Potter and the Extended Camping Trip, because it just felt like
they just walked around. Yeah.
Yeah, and I feel like they lost the magic of the school because they couldn't be in the school anymore.
Yeah, I remember that one was so depressing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It also was the one that sealed in my brain that Hermione and Ron shouldn't have been together.
Yeah. Yeah, what else? Oh yeah, so I have them all on hold. The problem is they are going to be available in different orders. So like I know like Half-Blood
Did you
Prince.
just like postpone when you accept them?
That's what I did. Yeah. I have them all postponed until the end of the year, but once they're here like in order, I'll just unpostpone them.
That works.
Yeah. I don't really get how the postponing thing works.
It's just you keep moving up in line, but they don't offer you a moment to accept. So you can be like number one in line, and then you can change it to like unpostpone, and then you can accept the book.
You can postpone delivering, but you can also postpone your hold.
Okay, maybe our libraries do different things. I don't think there's a difference in ours.
No, when oh wait, we just got a comment. Chamber of Secrets is my least favorite. Order of the Phoenix is my favorite, if not Deathly Hallows.
No, honey, no. Order of the Phoenix, that's the one where you know who died. Not you know who, but like.
Yes, I know who. Very good, but I'm surprised. Why is Chamber of Secrets your least favorite? I love Chamber of Secrets. It's so good.
I don't know. It has like the child. It doesn't have the complexity of the Time Turner.
Yeah.
Order of the Phoenix, the plot, the Weasley twins, and all the things they did to like go against Umbridge, which.
Oh yeah, I forgot about Umbridge. I have
She's like the most deliciously evil children's character, I think.
Yes, I have a song on my Spotify playlist. Basically, it's this lady who does like what's the word? Parodies. She does parodies of like characters and songs, and she did a Poor Unfortunate Souls song from Umbridge. It was really interesting. Yeah, I think I sent it to you, but I might not have. I'm not sure.
I think I would have remembered that. That seems pretty darn memorable.
I might have sent it to Judah. I don't know. I have a bad memory. But yeah. Oh yeah. So my library, it does. So you can when a hold comes through, it doesn't automatically borrow it. Like it says, do you want to borrow this or do you want to deliver so and so days later? So I can both suspend the borrow and also suspend the hold.
Gosh, I bet there's a lot of older folks working with that and having some troubles.
I mean, I don't really understand how it works.
Yeah. All right, so I still have a little bit of light out, and I've got to film my turtle outside for the weather report for my Pumpkin Dude series. So I think we should talk about our final thoughts and then wrap it up.
Yeah. My final thoughts are, now that I've talked about it out loud because I hadn't really digested it, I might raise my rating. I mean, I'm definitely gonna raise it. I don't know to what, and I might end up leaving it unrated. I'm not sure yet.
Okay, I'm gonna have to follow your Goodreads review and like wait for that and see how it goes. This one is still 5 stars for me because oh my god, I love the addition. I loved how evil everyone is.
Mm-hmm.
I'm really happy she didn't try and do some great redemption arc. She kept the characters as evil as possible. And
I
that was
agree.
a great decision.
I agree. Yeah. Oh, and our next book is, I don't have it, but it's I Was Told This Would Get Easier by Abby
Abby
Smith.
Waxman. Yeah, and she published last year. She published the
The
book
book
is by
is just like
Lena Hill,
mm-hmm,
which
that
was
was a
one of
really good
my
one.
absolute favorites from 2020.
Mm-hmm. 2019.
2019. Oh
Yeah.
my gosh, I'm so used to saying 2020.
Mm-hmm.
But it was one of my favorites, and it was such a cute book. And I'm hoping that we'll have some of that energy, because I read Abby Waxman's Other People as well, and that one, it was okay, but it didn't have that sparkle that her other one did.
Mm-hmm.
We shall see. And then we'll have our next live stream will be probably the first Saturday in August.
Mm-hmm.
We had to have it again.
Yes. I think because August 3rd is my birthday, and I think it's on a Monday. So the first Saturday in August is going to be August 1st, I think. Yeah.
That works out perfect. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
There we go. All right. So thank you all so much for tuning in, and we'll see you around next time. Happy reading.
Bye.
Bye.